Hello friends, and welcome into my craft studio, Heidi Sambal DIY. I'm so grateful you all stopped in to visit with me today. In this episode, we're going to be making some beautiful fall signs using Dollar Tree supplies, and each one of them are going to be so different from each other. If you are new or returning and haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, I do want to invite you to click that button so you don't miss any other new videos coming up in the future. And with that being said, come along and let's make something beautiful for our homes. For this project, we're going to be using 3 different fabrics, a long wood plank from the Dollar Tree, some beads from the Dollar Tree, some wire, and paint and stamps. I'll show all the supplies as I go. We're going to start with these fabrics. We're going to be making candy corn, and it's going to be so adorable for this fall season. I particularly do not like candy corn, but my oldest son loves it. It's his favorite fall treat. I don't understand why, but he does. Leave a comment down below to let me know if you like candy corn like he does. Now you can see here I drew out some candy corn shapes using my Sharpie marker, and then I went on the inside of the line with my hot glue so that when I fold over the fabric and braid those fabrics together, I now can cut out along the line where the Sharpie marker was, and those are welded together nicely. And the reason why I did this was just to thicken up the fabric a little bit. Now I'm going to move on to the mustard yellow and pumpkin orange. I took a strip of the pumpkin orange and I glued that onto the mustard yellow. I did a little snip and I ripped it apart. This is going to allow it to have a nice frayed edge and give it that farmhouse look. Then I'm going to put some hot glue on the cream part, sneak that underneath those 2 pieces of fabric that are brought together in the pattern of the candy corn. Make sure everything's all nice and glued together, and then once they are, I'm going to go ahead and cut them all out. I really like using a brayer whenever I'm working with hot glue because I feel like it distributes the hot glue a lot better than just pushing and tapping it down. Sometimes it doesn't flatten out well. That's why I'm using a brayer. Now for one of them, I am going to cut the mustard yellow a little bit shorter just so that they're a little bit different from each other. I like when they have that whimsical opposites of each other where they don't look so formulated. They all look exactly the same. I want them to have some kookiness, some whimsicalness to them. So I'm just kind of changing it up a little bit for each one. Now I'm going to just flip it over and cut out the orange and the mustard yellow with the shape of the cream candy corn. Once they're all cut out, I'm going to use my chestnut brown ink pad and I'm just going to lightly tap around it, doing some distressing wherever I want. Now for that wood plank from the Dollar Tree that I get in the craft section, I'm using some water, a little bit of black paint, and a lot of brown paint. I make this solution all the time. It is a perfect stain and it doesn't stick to your hands, so you can wash your hands when you're done versus using a oil-based stain, which is so hard to get off of your skin. I am just going over this very quickly and it's absorbing into the wood nicely. And you can definitely play with the paint colors as much as you want with that stain. You just keep playing with it until you get the color that you desire. Now I'm gluing on my candy corn and I'm going to take some twine. I also get the twine from the Dollar Tree. It's in their craft section. I'm going to wrap it around that middle candy corn a couple of times. And you can see that I only used 3 of the candy corns. I saved that 4th one for a project on another day because I decided instead of only putting candy corn on the sign, I decided I wanted to put some text, some words on it. Now I'm taking a piece of wire. I'm going to twist that into place and add on these white beads. And you can add on whatever beads you want, or just only do wire, or do a beaded garland, whatever you choose to put at the top. You can even put ribbon if you desire. And I'm just going to thread these all onto the wire and then tighten the wire in place, twisting it nice and tight. I always like coming in with my needle nose pliers, my wire snips, and I like to always tighten everything so that there's nothing that can scratch anybody. And I'm just going to twist around, making sure it's nice and secure. Now once that is all in place, I'm going to move on to the stamping part, and this part's optional. You could just put all of the candy corns. But I decided I really like the idea of giving it a very farmhouse candy store flair. So I'm going to stamp on candy corn with these stamps that I have on hand. And then these particular stamps I'm using right here for the word treat, these are from the Dollar Tree in their craft section. I'm going to just stamp these letters. And remember, when you're using stamps, always check the opposite side, because sometimes you have to reverse the word when you're stamping. So you would put down candy corn thinking it's going one direction, but it actually will be backwards when you flip it over. So always do like a pre-stamp just to make sure you've got it in order for the word you're going to be stamping. Once that was done and dry, I came back in with a little bit more distressing, and I was just using my water faux stain that I'm putting around the edges. And then I decided to put a price tag on the candy corn, so you can get 25 cents of candy corn, a little bag. And I'm just using a brush, taking my time, going around it. And I really wanted this to look more mercantile rough, where it's not, you know, stamped with a cleaner look. And I've decided to make mine 25 cents. You can make it whatever you want. Once everything was painted on, I made sure I came back in with my heat gun, because I'm going to do a little bit of sanding to distress the text and the font, just to give it more of a farmhouse look. So I'm just using the heat gun to really make sure everything's dry before I sand with my sanding block, just to rough it up a little bit. And in the end, this sign is so cute, and I'm so excited to style it in my home for this fall season. We're going to be using this very popular pumpkin sign, as well as one of these wall stickers from the Dollar Tree. Start by popping off that metal leaf and the twine, and we're going to peel back those paper backers on the large wall sticker and simply just rub that right on. Now, if you're not really into having signs that have words on them, don't ever feel intimidated by these kind of things at the Dollar Tree. You can cover them up with scrapbook paper, with these wall stickers. Super, super easy. Now I'm just taking my craft knife and going around it, trimming it down to the perfect size, versus trying to do a pencil line and cut it. That is too much work. It's better to just stick it on and then cut it out with your craft knife. Now I'm going to dress up this pumpkin with a big, beautiful green bow. You can do whatever color your color scheme is in your home for your bow. And I'm just going to glue that right below the stem. And now I'm going to come in with some little wispy picks. And I'm going to add on these white sunflowers. I think that this combination with the wood grain, the green, and the white sunflowers or cream sunflowers is so pretty for the fall season. It has a very high-end look that you would see in a boutique. I also added on a couple more of these smaller daisy or sunflowers, whichever I think those ones are actually daisies, the bigger one's a sunflower. But I'm going to just add all these in. So pretty, layered, not too crazy, but just a little bit of something. And now I'm going to take a piece of drop cloth fabric, and I'm going to stamp on that fabric. You don't have to do this part. You could stop there, but I decided I wanted to put a fabric tag on it that says harvest. So I'm going to take my acrylic stamps. I'm going to make sure the word is spelled correctly. Always flip your stamp over and look at it before you stamp it down and ink it, because then it'll just make a big mess. You want to make sure the word is reversed when you're stamping a word, if you don't do it one letter at a time. So I'm going to just do a double stamp, because the acrylic block allows me to see where I can stamp a second time And then I'm going to come in with my chestnut brown ink pad, tap it a little bit, and I'm going to use a wipey to really blend it in so it's not so strong when you tap with the ink pad. This is a really easy technique. You're just going to basically rub that into the fabric some. Once that was all set, I was ready to glue it in underneath the bow off to the side of the pumpkin. And I just love this extra added detail that it is adding to this pumpkin sign. I hope you give this one a try. It's super fun and easy to make. I got my hands on the new calendar for 2026 at the Dollar Tree, and they have some beautiful artwork inside of this calendar. I'm going to rip out the October month, and I'm going to be using one of these large wood square plaques, and we're going to make a beautiful sign with just a couple of small steps to create this. Now I painted the whole back side first, and then I flipped it over, and I'm going to add some water. If you don't want to have a stain that you're working out of a jar with, a spray gun and a paintbrush will allow you to put the water and the paint together to create a stain without having too many things that can spill and knock over. Now my spray bottle does have an eyeball on it. It's kind of like my craft room joke. My husband found a googly eye on the floor and he stuck it to my water bottle, and it's now stayed. It's just my little friend that I keep in my craft room with me. I am trimming up the artwork from the calendar, and once that's done and everything's dry on the wood plaque, I'm now taking Mod Podge, and I'm using a matte Mod Podge, and I'm going to go all over that sign, and I'm going to make sure it's really dry. I'm using my heat gun to speed up the process a little bit. But I want to take down a lot of that moisture that anytime you work with Mod Podge, it will cause your artwork to wrinkle. This is a new technique that's been really popular this year, but friends, it is super cool. So I dried the Mod Podge. I'm putting down the artwork. I'm spraying it, getting all the bubbles out. And now I'm using this tiny heat gun. I will link it down below. I love this little heat gun. Super cool. And you know what's cool about it too? If I ever need to iron one little tiny spot on a collar, this thing is so great for that. So I'm just going over it, and I am heating up that Mod Podge, and it's adhering to the paper without causing it to wrinkle and causing any buckling of the artwork. Once it was all adhered on, I am now going to move on to adding on the handle to be able to hang it up. You could also just set this on a shelf. It's really pretty. However you decide to do it, you could even layer it inside of a wreath. That would be really beautiful too. I added my wire, twisted it into place on one side. I'm threading on these beads that I took off of a previous sign that I used for something else, and I had these left over. I always love to utilize all my craft projects here, so if I don't use something, I'll usually hold on to it and add it to something else later on. I am just gonna thread those on, twist it into place, and this is the easiest project, and it is so pretty to have in your home for the fall season. I personally still love having signs in my home, especially at the fall season. So whether it's your thing or not, I think that trends come and go all the time, but if you like it, keep doing your thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to link the last video that just came out just in case you missed it. And my playlist to my new series that I came out with, where there are 10 episodes filled with craft projects. I hope you will check it out. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And until the next episode, bye friends.